Sometimes ago, you may recall the President, His Excellency Joseph Boakai Sr., took a decisive action, something I haven't seen in the history of presidency in our country for a long time, to suspend more than 400 government officials for not declaring their assets, which is legal, and giving our responsibility managing the centralized payroll of the government, which many people don't know. Appointed officials and civil servants, the CSA manage that payroll. It is just with the exception of state-owned enterprises, but the rest of the 105 government spending entities are on one centralized payroll managed by the Civil Service Agency. So in keeping with that mandate that the CSA has, immediately the President took the action and the list was released by the LACC. The CSA immediately blocked the affected officials. Today I want to report that the account balance as of today of the special escrow account that was created to save that money is $89,577.60 United States dollars. That's what we have saved. The account balance, that is the statement, was officially presented to His Excellency the President. As the President informed the country when the action was taken, when he took the action, he immediately informed the Liberian people that the money saved from that will not just be redistributed, but will go specifically to the One Child, One Chair presidential initiative. Towards that end, the Civil Service Agency and the Ministry of Education have been working together. I'm pleased to let you know that the procurement processes are ongoing, and the government is not taking this process away from its structure, meaning that we're not going to hire any private entity to do the chairs. We have capable government entities like BWR, like the Monrovia Vocational Training Center. They have the equipment, they have the technical know-how. Now, you guys need to do a tour. Mr. Minister, maybe you want to also include MVTC and BWR in your tours to go and see what they've got. I had a different feeling about it. You see that? I had a different feeling about those institutions in terms of what they're capable of doing until I visited. What I saw at MVTC, the metal workshop, Mr. Minister, you need to see that. It's elaborate. It has everything that they need to produce any kind of furniture that we are importing in this country. In fact, their wheelbarrow is advanced than the ones we buy in the store. The wheelbarrows we are producing here, they are like the dump trucks. You only need to use, there's a pedal. You only need to step on it and it dumps whatever in the bucket. And it comes back when you release the pedal. And it is durable, very durable. The tires and everything, I've seen it. That's the kind of work they are doing. The sample of the chairs have been produced by MVTC. Best quality, the decks and the chair. Something that even highly impressed His Excellency the President. That is produced locally. So there's no reason why we should be importing those things in our country. And that is why under this special presidential initiative, we are going to use local producers to produce the chairs and the decks under the President's One Child, One Chair presidential initiative. So with this, it is $9,577. The Ministry of Education is going to produce the chairs, close to 2,000 of them. You can imagine how many classrooms, how many school-going children would benefit from that significantly. So we are pleased to update the public that we are well on course The action taken by the president has yielded this measure of savings, and the money is going meaningfully to a worthy project that our children are going to benefit. This is not going in the president's pocket, as we experienced in the very recent past. This is not one of those things that somebody just calling for money to put in their pocket and go and hang out. No. This is real business. A reflection of having a responsible government and an extraordinary leader who is in charge of driving our national development agenda. I also want to inform you that on July 4th, 2024, His Excellency the President stood right in the Charles Bayon Hall when he launched the Employee Status Regularization Project and informed the Liberian people that after the exercise, legitimate, he underscored the word legitimate, civil servants will experience top-ups in their wages. The president did not just make a common or regular declaration. The president was strategic. And today I am pleased to inform you that significant top-ups have been done. The last time I appeared here, I spoke to you briefly about few of the top-ups, and some of you asked questions about the measure in terms of how far is it and where do we expect it to go. So I am here today to update the public on how far we have gone with the top-up initiative. The government top-up initiative covered the education sector, the health sector, the security sector, and the agriculture sector. And that is for now. And the reason why those sectors are covered is because of the critical role they have to play in the lives of our people. We need security. We need to have stability. If we want to realize the president's vision of achieving the arrest agenda for inclusive development, we need a healthy nation. The healthcare needs of our people is of paramount concern to this government, to the president. We need to address the educational needs of our people. If we must drive our national development agenda, we need an educated population, educated citizenry. We are talking about food production. We're talking about agribusiness. We're talking about food sufficiency, food security. This will require having the requisite expertise in place. And that's why the agriculture sector is also critical. And so the government intentionally targeted these four sectors to bring about motivation, satisfaction to the workers, essential workers. I'm going to give you the numbers to make sure that they're motivated to stay on the job and to do the job in a committed and dedicated way. So the education sector, for example, so we know teachers, educationalists are critical, as I have emphasized already. But the top-up initiative was not just done in vacuum. The ministry was keen in identifying those with vocational qualifications, the certificates, with C certificates, with B certificates, with associate degrees, with bachelor's degrees, with master's degrees. The ministry took those with those educational qualifications and the professional background into consideration. There are a total of 15,675 employees in both the Ministry of Education and the Monrovia Consolidated School System. Of this number so far, the Civil Service Agency working with the Ministry of Education, we've been able to cover 9,515 of the employees cut across all those professional backgrounds I just named to you, covered under the top-up initiative, meaning that none of those people are no longer being paid below $150. Meaning that some of them who made around $200, some of them see up to $300, $315, $330 increment. We have done it at various levels. So it's 915 employees affected, and the government is spending $262,300.15 monthly to achieve that. Annually, the government is spending $3.1 million annually to achieve that. That is quite significant, very significant. And these numbers I'm giving you speak clearly to the intentionality of the government, to the commitment of the president to the Liberian people. Because this has not happened in a very long time. Except otherwise, some of you are here, you can differ with me. But this is quite significant for the education sector, and it doesn't stop there. We are still, as we are able to mobilize more resources, the Minister of Information just told you yesterday how we thoroughly reviewed the domestic resource mobilization strategy and approved it as a cabinet. I was there and I was very proud to vote also, to approve that. So in the health sector, we have been able to top up the salaries of so many professionals in the health sector. You can imagine for how long they've cried in this country, even for the last 6-7 years. Some of you standing here, how many times did they not cover health workers protesting? 5 years ago, 6 years ago, just yesterday. Even at the point when the government just took over, health workers were still protesting. One of the things they protested about was increment in their salaries. We are not saying this is it. We are not saying we have landed, but we are sending a message that we have taken significant steps towards this. So in the health sector, there are about 5,612 employees, civil servants, who have benefited from the top-up initiative. Right now, we have $180. Just nurse aid. Imagine some of them were way below $150, some as low as $100. There's a colleague of a friend of mine who is very passionate, Prince Power, he's in Nima. OIC, officer in charge of the health center. All along, all he knows is $100 United States dollars. That's his salary. 100. That's why he's been taking all along. Meanwhile, he's OIC, officer in charge at that center. $100. Prince Power is not going to be taking that anymore. He's going up. The least here is 180. So we have gradations based on qualification. We have the nurses, we have the midwives, we have the RNs. We have the assistants, physician assistants. This is covering them from the Ministry of Health. So the 5,612 employee salary top-up requires $323,237 United States dollars monthly, and the government is spending $3.8 billion annually to cover that. Government has to be very intentional and committed to deploy that amount of resources to addressing the well-being of the employees. The security sector, this is very crucial, very critical in maintaining stability in our society, maintaining a stable nation, especially the police, the first in line when it comes to law enforcement, talking about the immigration around our country, the borders, and everything, talking about firefighters, the Liberian National Fire Service, talking about the Drug Enforcement Agency. We're fighting a silent war in this country. Yeah, and there are so many victims that we cannot even count. Many of our children, our brothers and sisters, our nephews, our cousins, our nieces, we feel very bad. Some families are broken because of the manner and form in which they're affected. They have succumbed to drugs in this country. And President Boakai declared that as a national emergency. He was not joking. President Boakai was serious about that. Today, the Drug Enforcement Agency is working with other networks, to break addiction, to break networks. And part of that is to encourage the men and women who enforce the law, making sure that we address this pandemic in our country. So the security sector, I will start with the Liberian National Police. Of the 5,972, they have experienced a top-up. There are 4,656 that have experienced the top-up. Again, these people, we're making sure that we don't pay them below $200. So the requirement for that financially is $75,000 monthly, and then annually is $900,000 government has committed. The Liberia Immigration Service, that's the LIS, of the 2,381, we have done top up for 2,122, and we have a fiscal requirement of $63,142.81 monthly, and $757,714.12 United States dollars. The Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency, of the 627, we have done top up for 572, and we have a fiscal requirement of $25,488 monthly, and annually we have $305,808. The Liberia National Fire Service, of the 777, we have done top up for 771. The financial requirement is $114,766.25 United States dollars, and $1.3 million annually. The Central Justice System, that's under the judiciary, that's the Justice Ministry, I'm sorry about that. 1,072 of that. We have 259 that benefited from the top-up initiative, and there's a requirement of $28,590.91, that's United States dollars, and an annual